here. All right, so the problem we've got over on Google Classroom, so if you all want to bring that up. The logic practice. Is that door locked? Oh. All right. So on Google Classroom, we have some flowchart and pseudocode problems. We're going to go through one of those two problems. You're going to do the second one on your own. Okay. So just kind of follow along and see if you can remember kind of the idea. Open up the document. We're going to start doing the basic logic. We'll start with the first problem, which is a little easier than the second problem, but they're both fairly simple. All right, so here's the deal. The problem says to design the logic for a program that allows the user to enter two values, and the program then outputs the sum of the two values. So again, shouldn't be all that complicated. The trick here is to try to identify your variables first and foremost. If you're looking at this program, how many variables are we going to have? Just in terms of quantity. How many, Jason? Three. Okay, I saw you do this, and then you kind of threw up the thumb. You know, just like, it's fine. I was just a little, you went, ah. Anyways, where do the three come from? Why not just two? Good. Many people miss out on the sum. They think, okay, I got to input two things, so I'm going to put in two numbers. Those are the variables I need. But then they realize I need to store that addition somewhere, that sum somewhere. So you got to make sure you have a variable for that. So going through and making sure that you understand those variables, that's the first part of the problem. So let's come in here and we'll just start making out our pseudocode. Okay. So I'm going to type start. I'm going to tab in declarations. Can you guys see that, or should I increase the size? Make it bigger? Let's see if I can remember how. Woo, wrong way. Better? Okay. So start declarations. And as Jason said, we're going to have three numbers. We're going to have a number for maybe value 1. Remember, with variables, they should start with a word, a lowercase letter. If you want to insert a number or a digit as part of the variable identifier, you can. It just cannot be the first part of it, the first character. You cannot use a number for the first character. That's not possible. We're going to create another one, num value 2. And then maybe we'll make a num for the total, or the sum, or whatever you want to call it. And then we're going to start to follow our IPO process. Input, processing, output. That's the way our program should lay out. We always gather inputs, data coming in first, then we process the information, we make the calculations, the adjustments, whatever it is we need to do, and then we finally output or return or display whatever it is the program is asking us to. So in terms of the I in the input process, okay? This double slash here is known as a programming comment in pseudocode. We could use a hashtag as well, if you'd rather. Okay. For my inputs, what are the two things that I'm inputting? Value 1 and value 2. I've got the variables there. Those are what I'm going to use. So we're just simply going to write that we're going to input value 1. We're going to input value 2. Nothing special. We don't need any prompts. We don't need anything complicated. This is just getting our thoughts down on paper. So we're just going to write down very basic, very plain and simple, what is the action that has to perform in the computer. When we get to actually programming it, there's going to be some prompts involved, maybe some print statements or input statements that are going to allow us to do it. There's also going to be some conversions that go on, but we don't need to worry about that in terms of pseudocode. That's all dependent on the programming language. The next thing we're going to have is our processing. In terms of processing, there's not a whole lot to do here. I have one thing to calculate and one thing only. What am I calculating? The sum of value 1 and value 2, and we called that what? Total. So remember, when you're writing your processing statement, any kind of assignment statement, it's got to be something like set the variable you're looking for equal to the math, right? It's got to go in that order because that equal sign, it does something, and it always works from right to left. So it takes what's on the right, moves it into the left. So we're going to say something like set total equal to value 1 plus value 2. And we could do that because we've already got values for value 1 and value 2 via input. And the last thing we're going to do is our output. IPO process, input, processing, output. We're just simply going to say print or display or show or whatever you want to say. I'll say print total. And we'll stop. That's our program, guys. Pretty basic, pretty clean, pretty simple, right? We're not going to make that overly complicated. We're just going to look for what we need. We're going to do what needs to be done, and we're going to get out of Dodge. All right? Any questions on the pseudocode part of it? Now, you guys know the flowchart's a bit more complex, right, in putting together. It'll come easier with practice. That's why we're going to practice with some of the easy ones, but they do become valuable, especially when the programs start taking twists and turns and starting to figure out where it's going to go. They become much more useful. So if you recall, we come up and put our flowcharts through draw.io. I provided you with a link here, so if you want to click it, you're more than welcome to click it, and it'll bring you to the flowchart maker. We're going to create a new diagram. I don't care where you save it. Doesn't really matter whether it's in your Google Drive or on the device. It doesn't make a difference. I'm going to create a new diagram. I'm going to call this the sum problem. Remember, and it's a blank diagram. Hit create. If you're working with your Google Drive, it's going to ask you if you want to put it in the root folder. You can select yes or no. It doesn't make a difference. If you select no, you're just selecting where you want to save it anyways. I'm going to pick no, and I'm going to put it in our period 3 folder that I have on my device. You put it where you need to put it. Now when it comes here, I'm going to collapse the general and increase or open up the flowchart section. But as period 6 and 7 pointed out yesterday, that this is actually even easier than I thought it was. You don't have to click and drag generally anything. You can just click right in here. Double click, sorry, and you get basically all the shapes you need right off the bat. So just double click anywhere you want and select the oval for our terminal symbol, and I'm going to write the word start in there. I'll increase the size of my text so that you can see it better. You don't have to, but I will. Is that better, guys? Okay. Once you have that, again, you can click these down arrows. And yes, if you just hover, you get a couple, but if you click, you get many more. We need our declarations to come next, so we're just going to reformat our pseudocode into a flowchart form. So the rectangle comes up with the processing symbol. Since this is happening behind the scenes in the declarations, we're going to use that same symbol. I can make it a little bit larger. I'm going to write my declarations. All right, num value 1, num value 2, and num for the total. And again, I'll just make this box a little bigger so everything fits, and I'll line it up just right because I'm OCD like that. And there we are. The nice thing about using that down arrow on the shape itself is that it gives you the flow line and it's already attached appropriately, so use it. Y'all with me? Your eyes tell me otherwise. You okay? It doesn't really matter. As long as it's oval in shape, okay? I liked using the Terminator because, you know, it's called the Terminator, but no, it doesn't really matter, okay? As long as you got the same basic shape, you're good. Everybody else good? Are we caught up? Yes? Okay. Then we're going to come into the input part of our processing, so I'm going to click on the arrow. I'm going to select the parallelogram for inputs, if you remember. I'm going to write input value 1. Make that a little larger too. I'm going to click on the arrow again, and I'm actually going to duplicate this so it's the same size, shape, and everything, and I'm just simply going to replace the value 1 with value 2. It's just a nice, quick, kind of hot fix for how you're putting it all together. So these things can come together pretty quickly. So the input section of our pseudocode is now done. Time to move on to the processing section. What shape is for a process? We've used it once already. The square or the rectangle, so we're going to use that again. And we're going to write set total equal to value 1 plus value 2. And again, I can use these handles, make it a little bit larger, move it around, do what I need to, line it up appropriately. There you go. Your flow chart should again be in a straight vertical column. Okay, we're not moving left or right at all. We'll save that for later when we bring in that diamond shape. Jason, you good? Okay, I just saw you peeking one side or the other, so I want to make sure. Everybody else good? Let's finish it out. We're going to go with an output statement, which is another parallelogram, right? Because it's an input-output symbol. So we're going to use that arrow, parallelogram. We're going to say print my total. And we're going to use our terminal symbol to stop. Not right now. Very basic. We're just putting together a 2-digit adder. It could be something plus something. That's it. Okay? This is what we've made. Okay? There's your flow chart. All put together, all done. Very nice, very simple. Now, the only thing that I'm going to ask you to do now is to get this flow chart into that Google Doc. Okay? It's actually a pretty simple process. Okay? There's a couple different ways to do it, but I think the one way that we're all going to be able to share and work with right now is to export as a PNG. Y'all with me there? So once your flowchart's done, I want you to go to File, down to Export as PNG. Just keep everything exactly the way that it is here. You don't have to do anything like that. If you want to turn on a transparent background, you can do that. That's fine, but click Export. Okay? And I would simply just go to your device. That way it kind of downloads. Y'all with me there? Now I think the easiest way to put it in there is to bring up your document again. And if you're in Google Chrome, which you should be, simply drag and drop. Puts the photo right in there. You can put it anywhere you want, because what I'm going to do now is I'm going to change the formatting of the wrap, and I'm going to change it to wrap text, or I'm sorry, I'm going to change it to be in front of text. And that'll be so that you can put it anywhere on the page that you wish, and you can resize it. Please don't make it too small. And obviously do not make the corners crisscross, because then it'll flip backwards, which is always fun. Okay? But now you can just move things around. If you want, move that problem B to the second page so you have room to work. And now you can put this anywhere you want. And if I resize this and reset, you should see that it fits nicely right next to the pseudocode. So again, the process is export as PNG, go to your document, just drag and drop, and then all I did was I clicked on the image and I selected the move in front of text formatting option. That allows me to move it anywhere I want, just gives me free reign. Okay? You can resize it, reshape it however you wish. Use the corner handles, that way it doesn't distort the image. Notice that if I drag the left, okay, it stretches it out real bad. I don't like that. Use the corners to make it bigger or smaller. Okay? Don't make it too small that we can't see it. Don't make it too big that we can't use it. Yeah, give me 1 second. Everybody good there? Questions, comments, concerns? I will help you format anything that needs formatting. Jason?
What did you use for output again?
For output is a parallelogram. Right? Input and output share the same shape. Got it, you're fine.
I don't know why this is.
Well, you didn't finish it, but just go in front of text. And now you can move it anywhere you want. Like back up on this page. Ew. That's fine. I'll move that down. Now it's not blocking anything, right? There you go. Well, shrink it. Notice that when I'm in my diagram, I like to keep my flow lines nice and tight. That way my diagram isn't like extra large. These are all the little things you'll pick up as you go, okay? I'm not expecting perfection out of this by any means. I'm expecting you to try it, test it, see where you come into issues, and let's fix those issues. So this is not just a practice in logic, but a practice in making sure that you're comfortable using the tools of a programmer. Y'all with me there? Okay. So now the next part is I want us to make sure that we're comfortable doing part B, okay? Design the logic of a program that allows the user to enter 3 values. The values represent the hourly pay rate, the number of hours worked, and the percentage of gross salary that is withheld. That's a mouthful. Your variables do not have to be a mouthful, okay? But you have 3 different variables there, yes? 3 inputs. The program multiplies the hours worked and the hourly pay rate, giving gross pay. It then multiplies the gross pay by the withholding percentage, giving deductions. Finally, it subtracts gross pay and deductions to find the net pay. The program will output the net pay. So my question to you is, how many variables are in this problem? Count them. It's not just 3. How many? 6 altogether. I think the first 3 are pretty obvious. Hourly pay rate, if you want to highlight it, that way you know what we're talking about. I'm going to highlight that in green. That's an input. Hours worked. There's another input. And the withholding percentage. There's another input, right? Where are the next 3 then, Jason? Okay, that's one of the 3. Where's the first? That's the second of the 3. Where's the first one? That's an input. There's something in between those. I want to know what the next 3 variables are. So we've already got the first 3 inputs. Where's the next variable out of this sentence? Fernando? It will display that, so it's going to input those. I'm not sure if I missed something outside of that, but out of this sentence that I've highlighted in blue, where's the next variable? Aaron? Gross pay, okay? You're going to take your hours worked times the hourly pay. It's going to give you gross pay. Here is a 4th variable that you will have to declare. I'm going to highlight that one in yellow because it's something you're going to process. What's the 5th variable you're going to have? Yeah, the net pay, okay? That's actually the 6th variable. Where's the 5th one, though? You guys are all over the place. Yeah. Say it again. That was our 3rd input, not the 5th variable. What do you got? Gross pay deductions. It's the deductions, okay? So I'm going to highlight that one in yellow. And then finally, the last one is going to be net pay. That one's easy to see because 1, you output it, and 2, it's pretty much you're used to it. That's what you see on your paycheck. But this is essentially how you get paid from an employer, okay? You get a certain hourly rate, you work a certain number of hours, you get a gross pay amount, right? Then you pay taxes. Those are your deductions. You take your gross pay minus your deductions, you get your net pay. That's how much you get to bring home, okay? So this is your program. You have 6 variables to declare, 3 to input, another 3 to find throughout the process, and 1 variable to output. You guys think you can do that? I want pseudocode and a flowchart, and I want you to put it on this document. When it's all said and done, let me come around and check it, make sure everything's good, and then you can click Turn In. Sound good? Yeah. And I'm here to help you with anything you need help with from here on out.